very special good evening, good afternoon, and good morning to all of you. Today, on the last day of World Mental Health Week, we have a very unique guest speaker with us, Honorable Neha Roshni Yooshing ma'am from the Integral University, India. She is an assistant professor at Department of Psychology, and today she is going to enlighten us on a very relevant important topic, that is workplace psychology strategies for managing work pressure. So, not taking too much time, now I would like to request our honorable guest to kindly proceed today's session. Ma'am, please.
All right. So I hope I'm audible, sir.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible now.
All right. So a very good evening, good afternoon, good morning to everyone who has joined just now and to all those who will be watching me later. So first of all, I would like to thank Divya Karuna organization and of course Professor Matt for giving me this opportunity and this honor to present today on a very crucial topic, a very hot topic, mental health. Because, see, I often give this example to my students that we give utmost importance to physical health. Suppose if I get a cut over here, you know, so, and if I start bleeding, immediately I would search for a band-aid. Or suppose if I get burnt, I get a blister here, immediately some family member or me myself, I would search for an ointment, for a cream. Why? Because it is something visible. The physical problem is visible. But when it comes to mental health, when we talk about mental health, it is something invisible. It is something that we cannot see. So when it is something invisible, we tend to avoid, we tend to ignore its importance. But we don't realize the fact that these days, when we are having so many physical problems, almost everybody today is suffering from some or the other physical problem. And most of the cause behind that physical problem lies the mental problem. Like, for instance, if I talk about insomnia, okay, if I talk about insomnia, which is the inability to sleep. हम सोने में असमर्थ होते हैं, हमको नींद नहीं आती है. This is the problem. If we go to the depth of insomnia, we would realize that there is some psychological problem lingering. हो सकता है there might be some stress. The person might be dealing with some stressful event in his life, which, see, stress is something psychological, which is resulting in a physical problem called as insomnia. Then, suppose if I talk about irregular heartbeat or high blood pressure, all these are what? All these are physical problems. But the core of this lies in some mental problem. Mental problem could be stress, it could be anxiety. The person might be suffering from some anxiety, which is leading to some problem called as irregular heartbeat. Right? So, the thing is that, like, before I delve into workplace psychology, I just wanted to talk about mental health because it is something very important, it is very crucial. We give utmost importance to our physical health. We join the gyms, we do so many exercise, yoga, breathing exercise. Hmm? We wear branded clothes, best of the best clothes. We want to look beautiful, we want to look handsome, everything, you know. We want to use the best of the creams, shampoos, everything. But when it comes to mental health, when it is about the healthiness of our mind, the mind which is controlling each and every aspect of our body, each and every decision of our body, each and every control of our body, the mind has it. What are the steps are we taking for that mind? Are we taking any steps for the mind? Are we taking steps to keep it healthy? We don't realize the fact that just one step the mind has to take, okay? Just one step of ending one's life. Where does the decision of ending one's life take? Where does that decision come? It comes over here, our mind, right? So just one decision our mind has to take to end one's life or to commit suicide, and all the other steps that we have taken till now for our physical health, all of those steps, be it exercising, be it joining the gym, be it looking beautiful, be it wearing branded clothes, everything goes to waste. All the other steps goes to waste just because of that one step that mind takes. So you can see that how fragile, how delicate our mind is. It needs so much of care. It needs so much of nourishment, love, care. But what we do is we tend to ignore mental health and run after physical health. So without taking much time, I would now proceed towards my presentation, which is on workplace psychology. So, Mr. Samya, please let me know if my screen is visible. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, all right. So, just recently we have lost a gem. हम भारतीयों ने एक बहुत ही अनमोल रत्न खोया है, मिस्टर रतन टाटा. So I just wanted to share one of his quotes, which I find very impressive, that no one can destroy iron, but its own rust can. And similarly, no one can destroy a person, but his own mindset can. What a beautiful thought. See, it is only our mindset, okay? Moreover, our positive mindset, which can lead us to heights. और अगर हमारी ये मानसिकता ही अगर हमारी पेसिमिस्टिक है, नकारात्मक है, तो ये हमें पतन की ओर खींच लेता है. So it is very imperative for us to have a positive mindset in life. Yeah. So now I deliberately chose workplace psychology, that is strategies for managing work pressure, because this year the theme of Mental Health Day is to prioritize mental health at workplace. So just because of that, I chose this topic, workplace psychology. Now, I would like to introduce with the impact of mental health issues at work. Now, it is but obvious that if a person is not very mentally happy at the workplace, then there would be a lot of issues that the person has to face. Like, for instance, absenteeism. Absenteeism is when you take a lot of leaves. It is obvious that if a person is not happy at the workplace, the person would be taking a lot of leaves. If a person is not satisfied, all right? Then coming next to accidents and errors. Now, again, this is something very common. Usually, people who are not mentally present at the workplace, okay, their physical bodies are present, but their mental level, their mindset is elsewhere. So, they are bound to commit a lot of errors, commit accidents. Like, for example, you're a banker, okay? And suppose you have to make a transfer of 10,000. But instead of 10,000, you typed extra zeros and you put 10 lakh. So, what happened? The amount got transferred, and who is now payable for it? Who is now accountable for it? It is you. Why? Because your mindset at that particular time was not healthy. It was elsewhere. Okay. Then next term comes presenteeism. Just like we talked about absenteeism, now comes presenteeism. Now, presenteeism is something which I just discussed. That your physical body is present at the workplace. Okay, you are present physically, but your mind is elsewhere. So naturally, the potential that you have to perform best, that won't be there. See, there are two things at workplace. Only two things can happen. One, you are working, and second, you're working efficiently. And both these terms are poles apart. Why? Because working means you are just doing the activity somehow, irrespective of the outcome. You are not bothered about the outcome. But working efficiently means you are using a maximum level of your potential. Okay? You're using maximum level of your potential. So naturally, when you will use your maximum potential, you will perform the best. And once you perform the best, you will be acknowledged. You will be recognized for it. Okay? Then another term comes, productivity. It is obvious that if your mental health is not well at the workplace, your productivity would suffer. And if the employee's productivity suffers, naturally the organization or the company's productivity would also suffer a loss. Okay? Then coming to the importance of workplace psychology. So first is reduced absenteeism. Okay, if our mental health is well, obviously absenteeism levels would decrease. Now, what does World Health Organization has to say? It has to say that for every $1 which is invested in treating common mental health disorders, there is a return of $4 in improved health and productivity. So see, the stats are all in front of you. That if you invest $1, just $1 for treating mental health disorder, you'll get a return of $4 amounting productivity. Then American Psychiatric Association, it says that mental health issues, particularly depression, it is a leading cause of absenteeism. But those places, those organizations that provide mental health resources, they see a reduction in that absenteeism by 30 to 50%. So you can see that that is such a good statistics. 30 to 50% they get reduced just by giving the mental health resources to the employees. Then coming to employee satisfaction and retention. Now Gallup in 2020 in their study they found that workers who feel that their well-being is prioritized are 89% more likely to recommend their company as a good place to work. So naturally, if someone is recommending that my workplace is a good place, the place that I work is very good, is very nice, naturally I would retain there. Why would I switch my job? I would definitely be a loyal worker. Okay. Then Harvard Business Review, it says that high levels of satisfaction are linked to an increase in overall job performance by 20 to 25%. So if you are satisfied, so naturally your job performance would increase by 20 to 25%. And if your 20 to 25% performance increases, so naturally the company's performance would also increase. The company would also benefit. The workplace would also benefit. Okay. Now, coming to the economic impact at the global level. Okay, so the Lancet Psychiatry in 2016, they found that untreated mental health issues can cost the global economy up to $1 trillion in lost productivity each year. तो आप ये विश्व स्तर पर देख सकते हैं कि कैसे if you don't focus on mental health issues, तो हर साल every year you will be losing, आपको $1 trillion की हानि होगी. That's at the global level. So you can see that how mental health is so important at the workplace. आपके कार्यस्थल पर आपकी जो mental health है वो बहुत ही महत्वपूर्ण है. आप उसको इग्नोर नहीं कर सकते. You cannot ignore that. Then Coming to the examples of good workplace culture. Now, I found this data as something interesting. So I'll be giving examples of some companies who pay a lot of attention to the mental health of their employees. Okay. So first is Google. Okay. So Google offers its employees a program called as Search Inside Yourself. So all the employees at Google, they experience this program called as Search Inside Yourself. And this program includes mindfulness, meditation activities, stress management workshops, sessions, then helping employees enhance their focus, creativity, and resilience. So, all of these things they focus on so that their employees are happy. By resilience, now there's this term called resilience that I've mentioned. Resilience means the art of bouncing back from the adversity. See, adversity is a part of life. You cannot ignore problems in your life. No person on this earth can ever say that I've never encountered any problem. Every person born on this earth has to undergo some problem. Now, some people succumb to it, but there are some people who fight back. And the art of fighting back and bouncing back to normality, that is called as resilience. Okay, so Google pays attention that their employees, they are trained about these things. So isn't that beautiful? Then second, coming to Microsoft. Now Microsoft introduced a 4-day work week experiment in Japan. So this experiment was in Japan, which included time blocking techniques. Okay, they included some time blocking techniques, which I'll be sharing, which I'll be elaborating in my further slides. So, and the result was that a 40% increase in productivity was found in the employees because of those time blocking techniques, which I'll be sharing a little later. See, time blocking means that for every hour, you have allotted a specific task. Okay, time blocking means that for every hour, you have allotted a specific task. So that ensures that no time is wasted. Okay, and that you don't end up as jack of all trades, because usually what happens is at workplace, some people might experience, some people who are watching this right now, they might themselves relate to this, that you have a lot of tasks to complete. Now what you do is, suppose from 9 to 10 a.m. you try to finish task 1 also, task 2 also, and a little bit of task 3 also. So what happens is, at the end of the day, you might land up yourself in a manner where you have completed nothing. You've completed nothing, but you just did little bits of everything. So to avoid such a scenario, we encourage people to do time blocking. Okay, so Microsoft did that and they saw a 40% increase in the productivity of the employees. Then coming to emotional intelligence. Okay, emotional intelligence by PepsiCo. So PepsiCo has integrated emotional intelligence where leaders, see, every workplace, every group, it has a leader. Okay, where leaders are trained to understand and manage their emotions and those of their teams, leading to a better communication, collaboration, and conflict resolution. See, for efficient leadership or to be a good leader, you must first know what are the challenges or the conflicts that are happening within you. And only when you come into realization with that, only then you would be able to understand your group better. If you yourself are a confused person, you do not know how to label your emotions, you don't know what you are thinking, what you are doing, you cannot expect to be a good leader. Okay, so PepsiCo, it encourages that leaders, they identify their emotional intelligence. So that is also something very important in today's world. And then talking about IBM, so they have launched certain cognitive behavioral techniques. Okay, so now I do understand that many of the people who have joined just now, they are not from the psychology background. That is no problem. See, The word cognitive means related to our mind. Okay, related to our mind. And the word behavioral, it relates to our actions. So, mind and actions, when you combine that, it leads to a word called cognitive behavioral. Okay. So IBM offers CBT based programs which helps the employees to identify their stress, their anxiety, their negative thoughts. The main purpose of CBT or cognitive behavioral technique is to identify our negative thought patterns and how to reframe our negative thoughts and develop them into a more positive and coping strategies. Now, for instance, okay, I'll take that example a little later on where I'll be discussing about converting your negative emotions or negative thoughts into positive one. I'll take that example a little later on. Then, coming to the next example of Adobe. Now, Adobe is another quite famous company. Okay, so Adobe has replaced annual performance reviews with a check in system which emphasizes on continuous informal feedback and recognition. See, in simpler words, if I have to explain this, I would say that every institution, every organization, every company has some annual reviewing process. Okay, where usually the leader or the boss, he goes to a podium, takes a mic, and for every employee, he gives a certain judgment. Now, for him, it does not matter whether the employee is feeling good or if he's feeling humiliated or whatsoever. He goes there, he gives the judgment, and now ultimately everyone is silent. Some might feel humiliated also, some might feel embarrassed also. Why? Because usually the loopholes in the working of the company, they are brought into surface, right? But what Adobe does is that instead of having those traditional feedback process, okay, which many of the people they try to escape, they try to flee from that situation because they are afraid that I might be embarrassed in front of everyone. My boss might embarrass me by pointing out my mistakes, my flaws. So what Adobe does is it does not go for that traditional review system. It focuses on a more discussion discussion way of giving the feedback. And there is a huge difference. One person, one leader, one boss going to the podium, taking a mic, and one by one giving a judgment on everybody, versus a collaborative atmosphere where all the employees sit together, they discuss about the flaws, about the loopholes where they could not work, where they had some problem, okay, where they did really well. So there's a big difference. Such a collaborative platform would be more beneficial for the company. It would be more engaging for the employees. The employees won't run away. They won't result in absenteeism. They won't absent themselves. Right? So, this is also a very unique concept that I found. And it is something that I feel companies should be adopting. Okay. Then coming next to Unilever. Now, Unilever's lamp lighter program. Now, they have this special lamp lighter program, which is something very interesting. And it promotes physical activity, healthy eating, and mental well being of the workers. Okay. Through on site fitness. So, over there at their company only, they provide such camps. Okay. They provide such camps where the mental well being, the physical well being, everything is looked after of their employees, and they are even given healthy meals, okay, which fosters a healthier and a balanced workplace, okay, workforce. Okay. Now coming to an interesting part of the day, which is strategies to avoid work pressure. Now we've discussed a lot about various companies providing such and such techniques and such strategies. Okay, what are the problems that we face at the workplace? And so now we will be discussing about strategies. Okay, strategies. How can we avoid that work pressure? How can we work efficiently at our workplace? Okay, so first is time management. Now, here I'll discuss the time blocking concept in detail. Now, you can use time blocking or the Pomodoro technique to break the work into focused intervals or breaks in between. Okay, now see, there are two diagrams that you can see. The one on my right, which shows distracted multitasking. So you can see that, between 8 to 9, there are two 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., there are two activities that the person tried to finish. Then between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., there are three activities that the person tried to finish. All mixed. It's all a khichdi. Okay, it's all a khichdi. We don't have to do that. What we have to do is we have to block our time. Like for instance, from 8 to 10, you decide that suppose I have to attend all the emails and all the messages. Suppose 8 to 9. All right. 8 to 9, I have to attend all my emails and messages. So what you'll do is you'll only be focusing on that task. From 9 to 10, I'll be completing some task 1 based on prioritization. See, here also, there has to be kept in mind that we prioritize the work, not that we do the least important work first and the task that needs utmost importance, prioritization, we end up finishing it with so much of tension, with so much of stress. Okay, so we need to prioritize. So, like in the left image, the image to my left, focus time blocking. So you can see that how, such systematically from 8 to 10, there is task 1 going on. Then from 10 to 12, another task is going on. Then from 12 to 2, the third task is going on. So what you ensure that you are ensuring that whatever task you are picking, you end up finishing that for the day. That particular day, you're finishing task 1, then task 2, then task 3. So one by one, based on prioritization, you're going on finishing the task. Rather than a distracted multitasking, task 1 also, task 2 also, task 3 also. At the end of the day, nothing gets finished. Okay. So for that, we have this very interesting technique called as a Pomodoro technique. Okay. Because I understand that at the workplace, sometimes some tasks, they are very boring. Okay. They could be very boring. Sometimes they are too, it requires a lot of our energy, our attention. Okay. So at times we might feel drained out. We might feel burned out. And it is something natural. It has happened with me also. It could happen with anybody. That you could be so tired that you are unable to do anything else. So, in order to avoid such a scenario, in order to avoid such a scenario, we indulge in something called as the Pomodoro technique. Now, this is something very interesting. Okay, what you have to do is you have to put a timer. See, here you have to use a timer. Okay, suppose you choose task 1, that I have to complete task 1. What you do is you put a timer for 25 minutes and 5 minutes. So Pomodoro technique says that you decide what task you need to complete. First step. Second step is you set the timer for 25 minutes. Okay, you set the timer for 25 minutes. Then third is you work on that task straight for 25 minutes without getting distracted until the bell rings, until the timer rings. Then once that timer rings after 25 minutes, you are supposed to take a 5-minute break. Okay, you're supposed to take a 5-minute break. So what you do is you choose a task, you work on it for 25 minutes. Then once the timer rings, 5-minute break. Then again, after 5 minutes, again for 25 minutes, you are again focusing on that task without getting distracted. Then again, 5-minute break. So what happens is that this technique, you need to repeat it for 4 times. That is if you repeat it for 4 times, it would amount to 2 hours. Okay, it would amount to 2 hours. Now, you yourself realize this thing, try to think about it. Suppose there is a task, okay, some data analysis task, suppose, for example, that you have to do. Now you are constantly, your eyes are constantly vested on the screen for 2 hours. Wouldn't it be so frustrating? It would be so tiring for the eyes also. That, constantly for 2 hours you are focusing on something. Your mind would be so tired that constantly you are focusing on the numbers and data and everything. But if you indulge in Pomodoro technique, and if you indulge in Pomodoro technique, that okay, for 25 minutes, I'll be focused on it. Then 5 minute break. And in that 5 minute, maybe I would go out for a walk, 5 minute walk, and then come back. Then again 25-minute focus. Then again 5 minute I would do some stretching exercise, some breathing exercise, some yoga. Okay. Then again for 25 minutes I would focus on it. Okay. So like this, you have to repeat it for 4 times. And once 2 hours are done, so then you take a 20 to 30-minute proper break. And one thing I would like to add to it, that when you take the breaks, you should ensure that you are taking some productive and healthy breaks. Not that you are, you're taking your phone and start scrolling. So what is the difference that it is making? Your eyes were already on the screen, on the laptop screen, doing the data analysis, and now your eyes are on the phone. You're scrolling the reels. So try to avoid screen time in those 5 minute and 20 to 30-minute break, and try to do something productive, something healthier. Okay. So this is some interesting technique that I wanted to share, and you could apply it in your workplace. Okay. Then coming to some cognitive behavioral techniques, it's called as a CBT. Like I just said, cognitive related to our mind, behavioral is related to our actions. Okay. So you can use CBT techniques to reframe negative thoughts into positive ones. So the technique is to teach the employees to identify negative thought patterns and replace them with the positive ones, realistic ones. Okay. Like for example, now there's an example. Now, for example, an employee frequently feels overwhelmed by tight deadlines. And he says things like, I can never finish on time, or I'm going to fail. Okay. Now, how can you convert such negative thought patterns into positive ones? You can say, instead of saying, I can never finish on time, you can say that I can break this task into smaller steps and manage my time. Okay. And instead of saying, I am going to fail, you can just say something like that I have met tight deadlines before and I can do it again. Right? So, here are some of the other examples. Like, usually people say, oh, I'm a mess. I'm such an unfortunate person. So, instead of saying things like this, you can say, I'm a human being. Humans are bound to commit errors. Which man on earth can say that I've never committed an error? I've never made a mistake. Everybody has made a mistake. So instead of labeling yourselves with negative taglines, okay, you can just say something positive. Then I can't do this. So instead of saying this, you can say I can do hard things. I can try doing things. You know? Then I'm a failure. Oh God, this is something so common. I've heard some of my students also exclaim this, that I'm a failure. Why? Why you are a failure? Everybody has failed. Which person on earth can say that I've never failed in life or in any activity? Okay. Failure is important. Failure is a stepping stone to success. Okay. It reminds me of the famous quote that Edison said. Okay. The famous line that Edison said, that I didn't fail. I did not fail. I just found 10,000 ways that don't work. So see, it's just a mindset. It's just a mindset. On one hand, one person can say that, oh God, I'm such a mess, I'm such a failure in life that 10,000 times I failed. But look at his positive outlook. his positive mindset. He said, it's okay. I did not fail. I just found 10,000 ways that did not work. Right? So instead of using such terms, you can say that I'm still learning. I'm a learner. Rather than I'm a failure, I'm a learner in life. We all are learners. Okay. Then sometimes we often say, why is this happening to me? Oh God, I'm such an unlucky person. Why is this happening to me? Instead of saying things like that, you can ask yourself that what is it trying to teach me? Because every hardship, every lesson, every problem has something to teach us in life. Now it is on us whether we take it as a lesson or whether we just brood over it. And once we take the lesson, we'll be wiser in life. Why? Because we've got that wisdom, we've got that maturity. The person that I am right now sitting in front of you all, it is a result of any past mistakes that I've done. Any, suppose any problem that came into my life, and now if the similar problem comes into my life, I'll be a more sorted person. Why? Because I have learned the lesson from that problem. Had those things not happened in my life, those problems, those obstacles, those hardships didn't come, I won't have been the person that I am today. So, in fact, I am grateful to any problems, any failures, any hardships that I ever encountered in the past. Because what I am today is because of all those. Okay. So, then another technique could be work life integration. So, we can offer flexible working hours and promote a culture where taking the time off for personal needs is encouraged. Why? Because employees are not robots. Employees are human beings. They have their personal needs also. They have their families also. They have their hobbies also. And we cannot devoid them of that just for the sake of the work. Okay, so the technique is encouraging employees to set boundaries. Okay, we need to establish boundaries between our work and between our personal life. Okay, and if we do not do that, then we will neither excel in the work life nor in our personal life. We'll be a flop. So maintaining a healthy boundary is very essential. Okay, so what we can do is we can turn off work notification after hours. And this reminds me of a very interesting concept in France where they have this law called the right to disconnect. Okay, France has this law called as the right to disconnect. So what happens is that after the working hours are finished, the employees have the right not to attend any emails or any calls. So they have the right to disconnect. So that is also something impressive that I came across. Now, I wanted to add something interesting, and this is something that this picture I've been coming across since a few days on my social media. So I wanted to share this, where a Chinese man won 365 days of paid leave at lucky draw in an office party. So I just wanted to add a little extra element to it. So, like, what happens is at our workplace, if we are given incentives, okay, if the employees are given some incentives, I'm not saying that every organization or every company has to give you 365 days leave. No, it's not practically possible. I understand. But what we can do is we can give certain incentives to the employees. Okay, because if the employees, again, if the employees are mentally happy, okay, they are coming to the workplace with excitement, with zeal, with a lot of vigor, so naturally their performance would boost. Employees performance boosting means companies performance boosting, companies rising. Employees performance, it is coming down, so even the company's performance, company's ranking would subside, right? So this was some image that thrice or maybe 4 to 5 times I've come across my social media. So I just wanted to share that I found it very interesting. Okay. So what we can do is we can give some maybe holiday leave to the employees, or we can give some extra bonus. Such incentives should be given to the employees at the workplace. Now, coming to stress management. Okay. Now, when I talk about stress management, I would be doing some activities. Okay. I usually try to imbibe some activities in my webinars and conferences. Okay. So, whoever is watching me right now, I would urge you to do some activities. Okay. So, when we talk about stress management, we talk about some stretching exercises. Okay. At your workplace, if you are, suppose, see, working hours, in your working hours, I do understand that there could be some physical health problem occurring. At times, our shoulders pain, at times, our legs start paining. Okay. Or in jobs where you have to constantly stand. Okay, you have to stand and teach, or or in jobs where you have to constantly sit also. Even in those times, you start having back pain, shoulder pain. So in order to avoid that, what you should be doing, you should be doing some stretching exercises. You can just take a brief walk also. Okay, you should be engaging in all these things. So activity time. Okay, so whoever is watching with me right now, I would ask you to just copy me. Okay, just copy me. So, we'll be doing a relaxation, progressive muscle relaxation technique, it is called. So, we'll be doing that. Okay. Now, it is called progressive. Progressive means gradual relaxation and technique. So, gradually, what you will be doing is you will be relaxing each and every muscle of your body. And if you get into the habit of doing this at your workplace or at your home, you would be the most happy person on this earth. Why? Because it would be making you feel light all the time. You will not feel burdened at all. Okay. So what you have to do is you have to sit comfortably. Okay. You have to sit comfortably on a chair. And since progressive, so gradual, so what you have to do is you have to each and every muscle in your body, you have to first tense it, tense the muscles, and then gradually you have to what? Release it. Okay, relax it. Am I audible? Is my PPT visible? Okay. All right. So what you have to do is you have to tense. Now starting from the face. Now starting from the face, what you have to do is each and every muscle in your face you have to tense. Like this. You have to scrunch your face. Okay? You have to scrunch your face and little and slowly what you have to do is you have to relax. Eyebrows, nose, lips, jaw. Okay. Scrunch your face and slightly and slowly you have to relax. So the aim is to focus on the time between it is tensed and when it is released. So the focus should be on that feeling of how relaxed my face is feeling, how relaxed my muscles are now, from scrunching to relaxing. And then you can do it with your arms also. What you have to do is you have to tense your arms. Okay, just stretch your arms like this, tense them as if you remember, we used to do monkey laddering. Okay, monkey ladder, we used to hang ourselves and we used to hold it so tight, right? We used to hold it so tight so that we don't fall. Similarly, you have to apply that strength in your arms and tighten your muscles as much as you can. And once you tighten your muscles, what you have to do is tightening and then releasing it softly and smoothly. Then again, tightening your muscles and releasing that pressure. So what you have to do is you have to experience that sukoon, which you call in Hindi, relaxation. You have to experience that. Then again, with your chest, shoulder area, to scrunch it as tight as you can. Just scrunch it and softly release it. Okay, just softly release it. Then again, scrunch it, softly release your muscles. So if you get into this habit, you'll feel very relaxed. Okay. Now, if you're sitting in such a posture where you can do this activity with your legs, you can tighten your leg muscles, okay? Your thighs, your calves, okay? Just scrunch your toes as hard as you can. Just scrunch your toes, okay? Then release it very smoothly. Just relax. Just focus on that feeling of how you tense it and how relaxed it feels once you let out. Okay, once you let out your muscles. Then breathing. Now I'll continue the breathing exercise in the next activity. Now comes activity two. So I hope those who've joined, they have learned the art of progressive muscle relaxation. It is very easy technique and very interesting, and we must adopt it at our workplace. Whenever we are feeling stressed out with work, we must engage in progressive muscle relaxation, relaxing each and every part of our body. Okay, tensioning the muscles and then relaxing it. Coming to activity two. Now, activity two, deep breathing. Now it is called as a 4-7-8 breathing technique. Okay, what you have to do is, and it provides instant relief to the stress that you are undergoing. Suppose you are in a stressful situation, not pertaining only to the workplace, it could be any place. Okay, be it before any competition, any lecture, okay, any such, you're going to the hospital, any place, you're feeling a lot of stress. So immediately, if you want to relax that, you have to relieve that stress. What you have to do is you have to engage in deep breathing. Okay. So, all those who've joined, come on, let's do it. Just breathe in through your nose for 4 seconds. Okay. Just count. When you inhale, count for 4 seconds. Okay. 4 seconds counted. Now hold that breath for 7 seconds. Now exhale for 8 seconds. Then again, breathe in through your nostril. 4 second breathing, inhaling, holding that breath for 7 seconds. Count in your mind. Then exhale for 8 seconds. Okay. And what you have to do is you have to repeat it till you start feeling relieved. So this is called as a 4-7-8. You just have to remember the numbers. Okay. 4, inhale, hold, 7, exhale, 8. Okay. So you have to do this exercise for a couple number of times, and then you'll automatically start feeling relieved. Okay, and this technique you can use it anywhere. It is very easy. Okay, all right. Then another strategy at the workplace that we could implement is encouraging innovation and creativity. Okay, we can have such idea sharing platforms. See, because often at workplace, it happens that those who are the leaders or those who are the bosses, they tend to implement only their decisions, only their perspectives on everybody. Okay, so what happens is in those work cultures and those workspaces, the creativity and the innovation that does not thrive at all. And for a healthy workplace, creativity and innovation is something which is very important. है ना, ये बहुत ही जरूरी चीज है ना. तो creating platforms where employees can freely share their ideas and innovations, that is something important. And this could be through regular brainstorming sessions, that we can have such discussions at the workplace, innovation workshops we can have, or suggestion boxes. So suppose if you fear that maybe your suggestion would be taken otherwise, what we can have is we can have boxes, anonymous suggestions we can just put in those boxes, and the best ones can be taken. All right. Then feedback culture. Creating a culture where constructive feedback is not only encouraged but also acted upon. See, feedback is something which is very important. Every performance needs a feedback, be it at the workplace, be it in the family, be it anywhere. People around you, they give you a feedback, but it should be constructive. Suppose I sing a song just now. Okay, I sing a song. There could be two people. One person says, "Oh God, you sang terribly. What a song you sang. I almost became a deaf." Okay. One feedback is this. Other feedback is, okay, the person, he said that maybe your song selection wasn't right, Neha, but the notes that you hit, your voice, your pitch, they are quite good. So you can improve on certain aspects of your singing, and maybe you should be choosing songs that have a maybe low base. Now, you yourself imagine what could be more hurting for me, feedback 1 or feedback 2? Obviously, feedback 1. And once I get the feedback 1, I might never even sing at any public place. Why? Because I would feel so humiliated. But with the other feedback, which we call as a constructive feedback, where you add some positivity, that would naturally lead to a healthy workplace environment. Okay, so we should avoid things like gossiping, things like backbiting, things like, pulling the other person down. Negative evaluation. No. For a company to grow, for an organization to grow, it is very important that we indulge in positive feedback, constructive feedback. Okay. And we can also have anonymous surveys also. At times, if you fear that you might be judged, you might be evaluated, so you can write anonymous surveys. Companies or institutions, they can have anonymous surveys to evaluate the performance of their employees. Okay. Then, my last technique for the day, which I also implement in my life, in my workplace, which is called as a sandwich technique. I think most of the people who have joined today, they have eaten a sandwich. I think every one of us have eaten a sandwich. Okay. So it's called as a sandwich technique, which reduces conflicts. And before I delve into the sandwich technique, I would talk a little about conflicts. See, conflicts are something which we cannot avoid. Okay. Be it in our family, be it at the workplace, be it in our friendship, be it anywhere. And why conflicts happen? Because of the mismatch in the perspective. Conflicts are bound to happen. Now, the degree might vary, okay, lower level, higher level, but they are bound to happen. It is natural. Why? See, like for example, half a glass of water is kept. One person might say it is half full. I might say it is half empty. Who is right? Who is wrong? Right? So both of us are right. None of us are wrong. But the problem or the conflict would happen if we would start arguing with each other. No, my perspective is right. She would say, no, my perspective is right. So what would happen? It would ultimately lead to a conflict. So from lower level, it might get exaggerated to a higher level. So in order to avoid such scenarios at your workplace, we need to indulge in something called as a sandwiching technique. Now, what is the sandwich technique? Now, sandwich involves two breads, right? Two breads or the burger, two two sides, and in the middle we stuff it with the bacon, we stuff it with the aloo tikki, we stuff it with the vegetables or whatever. Okay, so it has three layers to it, right? The two breads, and in the middle we have the filling. Now, sandwiching technique says that if you have to give any feedback to a person, okay, especially if that person has performed bad at the workplace or anywhere, what you do is you don't directly start with a negative word or a negative sentence. No, you start with something positive. You might say something like, hey, okay, like for example, your subordinate, somebody below you, okay, you were the senior and your junior, he had to give a presentation. And that presentation which he delivered wasn't very impressive. It wasn't very good. And you were kind of angry, agitated with his performance because you were responsible for that person. You're the leader. Now, what you have to do is you don't directly target that person that you were awful. You were terrible. Your presentation is the worst presentation I've ever seen. No, you don't have to say anything like that. You have to make a sandwich. So you have to start with something positive. You can say that, okay, you did well, but here are the things. Now, first layer is over. Sandwich level in the sandwich, first bread is over. You started with something positive that, okay, you did well, but now the middle layer, the most important layer of the filling, here you have to put all the negative things that, okay, your presentation wasn't very brief. You took a lot of time. You did not manage your time well. Okay, you were not on point. You took some extra points also, something irrelevant. So now, little bit negative. Okay, things that the person needs to work on, you're filling that. And now, once you're done with all the ranting, okay, all the negative stuff, now the base layer, the final layer of the sandwich, what you are doing is you're again, but on the whole. So, last level, you might say something like, but on the whole, it was an okay presentation. Okay, so you can say that, okay, but on the whole, it was fine. So now you're ending again with a positive statement. You're starting with positive, filling with negative or whatever feedback, okay, whatever things the person might need to improve, and final layer again with the positive. So you're making a good sandwich. So what happens is that if you use this technique at your workplace, if you use this technique, a lot of conflicts you would see that they will get reduced. Okay, a lot of conflicts, lot of arguments, you will automatically, you will see that they are getting reduced, they're getting avoided, because it is not hurting the sentiments of the other person. See, ultimately your goal is not to hurt the other person, your goal is to make the person efficient. If you hurt the sentiment of the other person, then maybe in the future your junior or whosoever that person is, he might flee such a situation. Next time you ask him to do a presentation, he'll say, no, no, I am on leave on that day. Right? He might make excuses. But if you imply the sandwich compliment technique, well, negative, well, then he will think about it. Okay, my boss or my leader, she praised me also, but she also told me the areas that I need to work. So I'll definitely work on these areas and I'll improve my performance. So automatically you are saying that there is a change in the mindset. Okay. So I hope those who've joined, those who are watching me, they have learned this compliment sandwich technique. So thank you so much, everyone. And although it's quite late right now, but I'm still thankful to all those who are watching me. I mean, it's late in India, and I know there are some people from abroad who have joined and who are watching me right now. So I'm so grateful to everyone who has joined me, and thank you so much, Samyak sir, for the time that you've taken for my lecture and for joining today. So I'll just stop sharing the screen.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your wonderful and insightful presentation. And although it's quite, it happens and ends well. Yes, so you mentioned very well about the workplace psychology, and it is the need of an hour, need of the time that we everyone should adopt it. And it is really a challenge in nowadays society to deal with problems with related to workplace and the mental health. So, one question is from my side is, ma'am, as per your experience, what will be your suggestions to the mental health professionals, especially to deal or overcome these kinds of problem, or how they can make a preventive measures to the community to deal with these kinds of workplace psychology and its related mental issues. So, what is your suggestion or advice to mental health professionals?
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much. See, for any sort of workplace smoothness, if we want at a workplace, firstly, we need to be very professional. Okay. Like I mentioned about conflicts, arguments, many a times they are bound to happen because we ourselves are a part of the grapevine communication. We ourselves are a part of all the gossips. We ourselves are at times unethical. We at times backbite about other people. So when it comes to ourselves, then we start what we start getting hyper. So first and foremost rule that I have adopted at my place, I won't say I'm very experienced because it's just been 1 year since I've been a professor. Like right after my masters, I started teaching. But whatever I experienced and whatever as far as my understanding is, I would just suggest that we need to be very professional at our workplace. Our workplace is a place where we need to work, okay, where we need to provide our service, and for that we need to be diligently involved in whatever we are doing. So we need to avoid a lot of other distractions happening. Every workplace has some kind of toxicity, I would admit. Okay, every workplace, be it in the hospitals, be it in the companies, be it in the schools, universities, any place, what I would say is that toxicity is not in our hands, but reaction to it is. Okay, what we do is, what people or professionals today they think is that, okay, this place, this is very toxic, I want to switch over to another place. So they switch on to another place. Then over there they find some other challenges waiting for them. Then they say, okay, no, I want to switch. So either you start changing one by one your place of work, or you decide that I will change my reaction to it. So once you have mastered the art of reacting, okay, you've mastered the art of reacting, then nothing would go haywire, be it at any workplace, hospital, organization, company, anywhere. So this advice I would give, that we must learn how to manage our emotions first. Okay, managing our emotions is something very crucial, very important. If only we manage and understand our emotions and start labeling our emotions, only then we would be able to understand other person's emotions at the workplace. We would be able to analyze how our boss is feeling right now just by looking at his or her face. What our subordinates are thinking just by looking at his or her expressions. Only when we are aware of our own emotions. Often I've heard people saying, I don't know why I'm feeling so sad. I don't know why I'm feeling so gloomy. I don't know why I'm feeling so depressed. If you yourself you are unable to pinpoint the reason for any emotion in your life, how would you be able to understand other person's intentions, other person's emotions, and how would you be able to manage yourself in any kind of a scenario, be it at workplace or be it at home? All right. So one thing that I would urge all the audience who's witnessing right now, that try to identify your emotions, even if it is something negative. I am feeling angry. It doesn't take a lot of time to realize that. But what is it that we tend to put it within us? We put it, we subside that thing in our minds that no, I will not claim it. I'll put it in my mind. I'll keep on feeding that thought until it becomes explosive. So be it at workplace, be it anywhere, it explodes and all the relations, all the work, everything gets haywire. Okay. So what we need to do is we need to identify our emotions first. If I'm feeling jealous, I will admit it. Okay, I am feeling jealous. I am feeling angry. And once we start labeling, understanding our own emotions, only then we would be able to excel in any sphere of life. Okay. And apart from that, I would say that prioritizing mental health is not a personal responsibility, it is a collective responsibility. So people from the workplace, those who are already working, or those who might be joining in the near future, I would urge you that first and foremost, prioritize your own mental health and then of those around you. A good workplace culture, good workplace is only when the employee's mental health is focused upon. Okay? Only that is the criteria for a good workplace to be labeled as good. A workplace to be labeled as good, which takes care of the physical and mental well-being of the employees. So this is all that I had to say. And since I spoke about emotions, I feel it is Professor Matt who could enlighten us more. He has already had his lecture yesterday. and he's the founder and the one of the most prominent people in the field of EQ. He is the founder of EQ for Peace, and through him also I've learned a lot about emotional intelligence, and I try to implement it in my own workplace. So this is all that I had to share, and thank you so much, organizers and Professor Matt, for this opportunity.